everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and today I'm going to be giving you my thriller book recommendations for the summer. Reading thrillers any time of the year, but I especially love reading thrillers in the summer that are going to be fast-paced, that are going to be great to read out by the pool or at the beach on a sunny day, and that'll just really capture your attention super quickly and not let you go. In the summer, there is so much going on, so I really prefer to read books that are super fast-paced and super engaging the whole way through to keep my attention. Otherwise, I'm thinking about all the million other things going on. So I thought it would be fun today to give you some of my favorite recommendations for thriller books that I've really enjoyed in the past that I think would be perfect for reading in the summer. First, I'm going to start with a couple of books that are set on islands because I think that is just such the perfect setting for a thriller book that you're going to be reading in the summer. The first island book recommendation that I have is Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. In this story, there is one island, 6 visitors, and countless secrets. This is my definition of a perfect summer thriller book. It is full of messy people, just being messy out on an island, and it is so much fun. In this story, there is this place called Moreau Island, which has this dark past and history. It's got this like haunting presence to it, and you're following 6 people who go out to this island together. They don't all know that they're going out to the island together. As they're there, secrets are unfolding. You're getting flashbacks to the past to understand people's motives, and it is just so twisty and fun and spicy and such a good summer read. Next up, we have a classic, and that is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This book came out a couple of years ago, so it's been around for a while. It was a big hit when it came out, and people are still loving it to this day. And if you haven't read this one yet, I do think the summer is a perfect time to read it. This one, again, is set on an island, and you're following a cast of characters who is there for a wedding. There is a bad storm and they get trapped on the island. Someone ends up dead. You don't know who ends up dead and you don't know who did it. And you get a lot of different perspectives from different people who are attending the wedding. You're learning about their past, you're learning about their motives and their secrets and their history and the ways they're secretly maybe intertwined. And again, it is just so much fun. It's super fast paced. It keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time. A lot of the characters are really unlikable, which I find to be super fun as well, because then you get like these distinct characters who you kind of love to hate. So if you somehow haven't gotten around to reading The Guest List yet, I think the summer is the perfect time. Next up, we have a little bit of a controversial pick, and that is Every Value Break by Peter Swanson. This is a book that I personally loved. I had such a fun time with it, but the opinions in the book community are sort of split on this one. A lot of people didn't really enjoy this one as much, but I thought it was a super good time. In this one, you're following these 2 characters who just recently got married, and right before the wedding, when the woman was on her bachelorette trip, she had a little fling before the ring and had a little affair on her fiance. She was sort of doubting the marriage and really just needed to have like one little last fling. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that was her decision. That's what she decided to do. But then she realizes, I do still want to be with this guy, gets married to him, and it seems like all is going to be well. After the wedding, he takes them on this remote vacation for their honeymoon out to this island where there are no cell phones allowed, and it's supposed to be this luxurious getaway where you really can disconnect from the world, which seems ideal until you realize you're stuck there in a situation you don't want to be in, because while they're on the island, the guy that she had an affair with ends up showing up as well, and he is saying he is convinced that they're meant to be together, and she gets stuck in a super difficult place where she's having to figure out how to continue keeping up the lies with her now husband and trying to get this guy to leave her alone. It is super intense, super fast paced, super twisty, and super fun. It is a little bit ridiculous. You kind of have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, but I had a lot of fun with this one. I also listened to the audiobook for this one, and I listened all in one sitting, so that is definitely how I recommend consuming it. Just fly through it super quickly. I definitely recommend the audiobook, and I think you'll have a lot of fun. And my last island thriller recommendation is, of course, The Island by Adrienne McKenty. I'm absolutely obsessed with this book. I'm calling this the thriller book of the summer. I had so much fun with this book, and if you like a survival thriller, this is definitely the book you should pick up. In this story, you're following a family who is going away on vacation to Australia. You're following a dad and his 2 kids. He has a teenage daughter and a son, and a new wife who is coming into the family. They all go to this vacation in Australia because the dad has to go there for a work trip, and the kids are getting bored. They want to have a little fun. They want to see some koalas. They want to have a good time, and they end up encountering these people who say that they can take them out to this island where they will get to see them. They'll get to have a good time. The kids beg to go, and so of course they decide, fine, we'll pay hundreds of dollars to let you go out to this island so we can see some freaking koalas, so you'll leave me alone. Well, once they get on that island, something bad happens very quickly and it puts them in a very bad situation where they are now being held on that island and they are not allowed to leave and they have to fight for their lives to survive. It is so thrilling, so fast-paced. The atmosphere in this one is also incredible because it is set in a hot, sticky climate in Australia and you can feel the heat through the book. It's going to be perfect for reading on a summer day, perfect to read beside the pool. It will have you so hooked, you will not be able to stop turning the pages. I also just love the characters in this one. I love the story that was being told, especially with this new woman coming into the family and trying to form those connections and the challenges that come with that, and just seeing how they came together in a difficult situation. I also really loved. So I cannot recommend this thriller enough. Definitely, if you're going to read one island thriller this summer, this is the one I would encourage you to pick up. Now I have 5 other thriller book recommendations that I think are perfect for the summer. Even though they're not set on an island, they give perfect summer thriller book vibes. The first one is He Started It by Samantha Downing. This is a road trip book, which is perfect for the summer. If you're on a road trip, this might be a great book to take with you. And in this story, you're following these adults who are all siblings and they've been a little bit estranged from one another and their family. But when their grandfather dies, they are coming back together to go on this long road trip that they took when they were kids. They're redoing the road trip. And at the end of it, they're going to be able to claim their inheritance. I think the synopsis does such a good job describing this book, so I will just read the last half of that to you. Time with your family can be tough. It is for everyone. It's even harder when you're all keeping secrets and trying to forget a memory, a missing person, an act of revenge, the man in the black truck who won't stop following your car, and especially when at least one of you is a killer and there's a body in the trunk, just to name a few reasons. My favorite thing about this book is how tense it is the whole time. You are stuck in this car on this road trip with these siblings and you know they are hiding secrets and you know there is something to figure out about what happened in the past, and it just keeps feeling worse and worse the longer you're stuck with all of them and wondering what's going to happen next. You get some unreliable characters in here, you get a lot of surprising fun twists. It is just a really good time and it is the perfect book for the summer. The next book I have to talk about is also actually an island thriller, but I kind of forgot it was set on an island. It's set at a resort, so it feels more like the resort than this whole idea of being like trapped and isolated on this island, but it is also an island thriller and it is a YA. So if you're looking for a fun, fast-paced young adult, this is a really good recommendation for you, and that is The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. This one's actually kind of similar to the concept of He Started It. You're following a bunch of cousins who have been estranged from one another. They don't really know each other, but they all have the same grandma in common, and their grandmother invites them to come to the island resort that she owns for the summer to come work there and to reconnect, and all of the kids' parents want them to do it so that they can get back in the grandmother's good graces before she dies so that they can get her inheritance. But once all of the cousins get there to the island resort, they start to learn some things about their dark and mysterious family history, and they start to wonder the real reason that they were invited out to this resort. It is twisty, there are secrets, it is dark and so much fun, and it's definitely a good summer recommendation. Next up, we have another road trip story, and that is Perfect Days by Rafael Montes. This is the perfect book for you if you really liked the book or the show You by Caroline Kepnes, which was adapted on Netflix in the past couple of years, and there's a couple of seasons of it. This gives major Joe Goldberg vibes, so if you like that, I definitely recommend picking this one up. This is a psychological thriller where you're following this medical student who ends up getting obsessed with this girl, and he really wants to convince her that she can fall in love with him, so he kidnaps her and they go on this long road trip together. It is dark, it is gruesome, it is psychological, it is creepy, the tone is amazing, and it is a perfect summer read with the road trip elements. It's super engaging, and it's also pretty short, so you'll be able to get through it pretty quickly. I feel like this one doesn't get talked about enough, and it is really a fun time, so definitely recommend picking this one up if you haven't tried it yet. My next recommendation is The Arrangement by Kirsten Modglin. There's nothing in particular about this book that makes it particularly great for the summer, other than the fact that it is very short, very fast-paced, and it has a very good payoff at the end with a very surprising twist. This is a story about this married couple who their relationship is getting a little bit stale, and so they decide to make this arrangement where they can each start dating other people, but only for one night during the week. So like the wife gets Tuesdays, the husband gets Thursdays, and they're not allowed to tell the other person anything about the people they're dating or anything that they're doing. It's designed to help spice up their marriage and, you know, distance makes the heart grow fonder, spark a little jealousy maybe, get them interested back in one another, but it ends up leading to some brutal things, and the ending is so shocking, so fun, so twisty. This is also the start of a series series. So if you really like this one, there is a second book out in the series called The Amendment, and the third book either just recently came out or is just getting ready to come out. So also if you want to have some like fun series to keep you hooked during the summer, this could be a great place to start. I've personally only read this first one because I just love the ending so much. I wanted to just let it be where it was, but I've heard a lot of Kirsten Magelin's books are also like this. So if you find that you like this book, this would be a great place to explore a new author. She has so many books out. She writes like 3 to 5 books a year, and they're said to all have these like fun twists and surprises in them. This is where I started with her works though, so this is where I would recommend, and I think this one would be really fun for the summer. And then last but certainly not least, we have The Good Lie by A.R. Torre. This is another one that doesn't have any elements that necessarily make it great for the summer in particular with like the weather or the setting or anything, but it's super short, super fast paced, and super fun. It really packs a punch in a short amount of time, and I find that to be something that's really hard to find in thrillers. So I really like this one, and I really wanted to recommend it to you all. In this one, there is this serial killer called the Bloody Heart Killer who captures teenage boys and ends up killing them and leaving their bodies out to be found. Recently, one boy has finally escaped the Bloody Heart Killer, and so they are convicting someone and getting ready to go to trial for putting him away. But you're not following him in the story. You're following 2 different characters who are investigating the Bloody Heart Killer because they're not sure if he's the right guy. One of the people investigating this case is a psychotherapist who specializes in people with violent urges like serial killers, and the other is a defense attorney whose own son was actually a victim of the Bloody Heart Killer, and he is deciding to defend the guy who is currently being convicted because he doesn't think it's the right guy and he wants justice to be served. It is so interesting because you get the criminal side and the legal side of investigating a serial killer plus the psychological side, so it's a nice mix of both of those. There's also a little bit of a romance forming between them in the story, which adds a fun little element as well, but it also makes you a little bit suspicious of both of them at some times. It's twisty, it's surprising, it's fun, and the way it all comes together in the end is perfect and so good. So that is it for all of the thriller book recommendations I have for the summer. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these and if you love them as well, and also let me know if you have any additional recommendations of great thriller books to read in the summer, whether they're set on islands, set in the summertime, have road trip elements which are great for the summer, or if you think they're just really fast and twisty and surprising and will be really engaging to read. If you've made it to the end of today's video and you want to leave an emoji in the comments down below to let me know, let's do the island emoji since we talked about so many island thrillers. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!